So I don't know.
That's fantastic. That's a good starting point then. Okay, let's go through a little warm up and we'll do, like I said, about half a workout. We might even only do one block of exercises and see where our time's at, because I want to give you a chance to talk about all this stuff with Pete and I. I've got a headphone in this morning so I can really hear what you're saying. But anyway, let's get it going. Let's start off with just some gentle twists this morning. So stand up with me. Let's go. So I'm making a list right now of stuff to talk about. And one is absolutely intermittent fasting, otherwise known as time restricted eating, right? Same thing. That's just a better way to think about it. I'm not necessarily trying to reduce the amount of calories I'm eating. I'm just trying to squeeze the amount of calories I want to eat into a smaller area of time, right? So time restricted eating versus intermittent fasting, just different verbiage. Cool, let's go for a little lat stretch. You know this one, push that hip out. I'm pulling on my fingertips. But anyway, a couple different subjects that I think we'll save for different days, and we'll focus on just one this morning. Keep going back and forth with these. Is intermittent fasting is one, or time restricted eating. Diet in general, right? If you have dietary questions, what you should be eating while fasting or not, doesn't matter, one way or the other. Even if you still eat breakfast, or if you're a breakfast eater and a lunch, and then you got to have that early dinner, etc. And then we talked about said nutrition, yeah. And then we talked about cardio versus weights kind of last time, and how you'd like some more cardio involved in our workouts. And I want to talk to you about that as well. So if you have any questions about any of these things, I kind of want to pick one today though, either diet and intermittent fasting, or weights versus cardio type stuff. Okay, let's do a pull on our glute. So reach down, grab that leg, pull it up. So it seems like we're going down the fasting route this morning. So maybe we'll keep it on that, okay? We'll talk about cardio versus weights another day. But this morning, maybe we'll talk a little bit more about intermittent fasting. Hopefully I can try to help you answer any questions. But all the folks that are live with us seem to have a good idea about it already, right? You wanna, if you're brand new to it, you start off really easy, right? 12 hours of fasting, 12 hours of an eating window, right? And then you gently start to condense that down, right? 11 hours, 11 hours, 11 hours for a week, then 10 hours for a week. Just bringing it down. Okay, little hamstring stretches. I'm gonna walk through my floor here. So put that toe out front, sit my hips back, just feeling the stretch. A couple little steps for me, going light on my other one. Hamstring stretches. You're only going to need a weight today. So anyway, start thinking about any other questions you have related to intermittent fasting, and then we can get into what you should be fueling yourself with in general, regardless of if you're fasting or not, which I'm sure you already know the answer to, but just having that confirmation. We can talk about supplementation, protein, vitamins, all that stuff. If you have insurance, I'd highly recommend having your doctor check your vitamin D levels, your vitamin B levels. Those are important things that our body needs and should be taken in some form. So I'm trying to just throw things at you right now to get your head spinning a little bit so that you can think about some questions you might have later. Also, let's pause for just a second, grab something to write with. Grab something to write with, whether that's a tablet or pen and paper, because if you want to write anything, I want you to scribble it down, okay? So let's take 30 seconds, go grab something to write with, and then we'll continue through our warm up here. 30 seconds, 30 seconds. Okay, I'm just gonna keep moving, but if you're still grabbing stuff, it's totally cool. I'm just gonna do some squats So when you're back and you have your writing things, join me with some squats. I'm just still walking. What I can say more about it is that it's complicated. There's a lot that it's a deep, deep rabbit hole, you know, and it gets ever deeper with diet and nutrition and all this stuff because we're learning more every year. I mean, so I learned nutrition in college, exercise nutrition, and it has changed drastically since I've been in college. And that's only been 2021. It's been 6 years, right? Okay, last one. Let's do a little quad stretch. So lots of changes in 6 years' time. I think we're like in the industrial revolution of diet and nutrition. We're really, really figuring it out right now. We're figuring out what humans need to function at top performance, what vitamins you need, how many calories you need, what time frame you should be eating those in. Okay, let's do a little work here. You need your weight or weights if you got options. Cool. So feel free to take these a little easy because we haven't done like a really big warm up where we got you literally sweating beforehand. So if you want to roll into these a little gentler, maybe a few less reps or just slower in general, that's totally fine. But got some things for reps and some things for time for just this first round. It's going to be a clean press squat. Clean press squat. I'm going to stay all on one arm and do 8 to 12 of those. Clean press squat. Here it is. Clean, press, and then squat. I bring it back down to that racked position and squat. If you want it to be way harder, then we leave that up there and try to squat. Pretty tough, okay, for my shoulder range of motion. So again, clean, press, and a squat. I like that you're doing it with me. Nice. Okay, and we're gonna do 8 to 12 of those. Again, arm up is quite a bit harder. It's hard to get low in my squat and keep everything straight. All right, really challenging. So that's our first move. We're gonna get 8 on both sides, 8 to 12 of them. The next one is gonna be squat jumps. So setting the weight aside, right? That's just catching our body weight nice and gentle. So squat, jump, squat, jump. Again, if you don't wanna leave the floor, that's totally fine. But getting up to your toes, almost like you were going to jump, okay? 15 of those. And then some floor walkouts. You've done these before. I'm gonna travel across my room here. So push-up position, walk my hands out as far as they go, and then follow with my toes and do that across my room, okay? Traveling. Tough for the core. The even harder ones for breathing tough or breathing hard, right? And that one's just for time, okay? 45 seconds back and forth. You can go backwards too. So if you get to the end of where you can go, walking those toes out and then walking the hands back, okay? So there it all is for this first round. I've got just a couple more things on top of that. And other than that, we're gonna chat it up. So think about those questions. Anything you wanna ask Peter, hopefully we can help you wade through the muddy water, right? Again, it's a deep rabbit hole, this type of stuff. You can go really deep into it and still feel pretty lost. Okay, so let's get started. We're doing those clean press squat, okay? 8 to 12 of them. Let's do it. I'm going all on one arm, okay? I'm gonna start off with 8 this round. In 3, 2, 1, here we go. Clean, press, bring it back to the rack, and squats. Going again. Once you get going, find that rhythm, right? And just keep going. Press, racked position, squats. Oops, forgot my clean. Count them out, you got 8 to 12. Clean. press, squat, clean, press, squat. Get your 8 and then take a small break. I'm going to take a peek at you. Nice. Sylvia, if you wanted to, you could take your feet a little wider, right? Totally up to you. Yeah, it might make your squat slightly more comfortable. Rep count this morning, my friends. Nice. Good. All right, I'm gonna get my other side. Two, press. Oop, I'll do that. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. When you're done, let's keep it moving. Okay, 15 jumps, keep them safe. Don't have to squat down super low. Don't want your knees to knock inwards, right? So take a look at those knees while you're doing it, right? While I'm jumping, I'll keep an eye on my knees to make sure they stay nice and pillar-like, okay? Let's get started together, but count your own once we go. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1, 15 of them. 1, 2, count your own. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, throwing my arms. 9, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hopefully your quads are burning. Mine are. Woo. Give your legs a quick shake out. We're gonna keep moving. Couple big breaths. We're doing that floor walkout, traveling through your room. If you got a big room, just keep on going forward. Just make sure you can hear me so you can yell the time at you. 45 seconds worth, come on down. Let's walk it out. 3, 2, 1, here we go. Walk those fingertips out just as far as you're willing. Follow it with the feet. Again. Keep it going. No down dogs here, right? Just hands out, feet follow. Right back to push-up position. You're almost there. Five, 4, 3, 2, you got it. 1. Cool. Short break. Short break. Grab a sip. Come on up to your feet. Start putting our weights where they need to be. If you think you might forget your questions that have popped up in your head, write them down. All right. We're back to it again. I'm going to keep it on the lower end, so 8 to 10, not 12 of these clean press squats. Find that rhythm for yourself and keep going. Start with the other arm this time, the one you ended on last time, okay? Start with that one. If you remember, let's do it. I'm going to start with my, what would that be? My left hand. 3, 2, 1, here we go. Clean, press, squat. My clean sit depth and my squat sit depth are different, right? So when I clean, this is about how low I go. If you just take a peek eventually, right? This is how low I go when I clean. When I squat, way deeper, right? So different depths for the clean and squat. We don't have to squat all the way down when we do the clean. Tough for me there. Get your 8 to 10 on that side. Allison, what do you got there? That thing's big. 15 or 20?
20 pounds.
Holy cow. All right, my friends, we all got to get bigger weights. That's amazing. Yeah, that's awesome for pressing straight up. That's what we're talking about. Making me excited to talk about weight training.
Easier on one side than the other.
Oh yeah, for sure, right? It's nice though, then you realize those muscle imbalances, right? I notice my right side is quite a bit weaker than my left. I got to work hard on it. Okay, let's get that other side. Here we go. Press, squats. Try the harder one here for me. There it is. Not bad on that side. Take a peek at this side for you. Remember, you don't have to go nearly as low for your clean as you do for your squat, right? Not taking the weight all the way to the floor. It just hovers. Look how deep I am, right? This is the deepest my weight goes. Look at my positioning when I clean. Oops. There it is. One last little look. Nice, you're all finished though. Next page. Cool. Squat jumps. Let's get into it. 5, 15 of them. 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Check out those legs. What are they doing? What are your knees doing? Make sure they're not caving inwards. I don't know where I'm at. 3, 2 for me, 1 for me, I think. Woo! Burns. Okay, moving right to those walkouts. Let's get it while we're still tired. Take those little breaks when you need. Keep those hips rolled under. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here you go. Nice. Use your breath to your advantage. Not really holding my breath, but it does pause. You got it. 10 more seconds. 3, 2, 1. Bring it all down. Nice. Okay, we're gonna keep this staying spicy how it is. So let's take a short break. Do it all one more time. Keep thinking about those questions. If you got any, write them down. What else can I prompt you with? Types of food we're eating, nutrient timing with exercise. That is the thing, right? When you should eat surrounding exercise, when's the best time to maximize your gains, right? That's something we can talk about. All right, getting ready for this last round. Vitamins, supplements, new supplements that are out recently, not out recently, but that have come to my knowledge more recently. I'm gonna alternate this last round. Feel free to join me on that, right? So now I will have to get a little lower because I'm gonna set this kettlebell down on the floor every time. So it's gonna force me to go a little deeper than that hovering position to clean it. Okay, so no pause for me then. I'm gonna do 16 all the way through here. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Clean, press, squat to the floor. Clean, press, squat to the floor. Press, squat. Find a pace that works for you. Keep it going. One last look. I'm also cheating. I got that little bit of a hamstring injury still, so trying to minimize how much I do too much that bothers it. Nice. Yeah, the squat. Sit deep, challenge yourself, get low. Use that weight as a counterbalance, right? If it's off the front of you, you might be able to sit a little deeper than you would otherwise. I normally can't sit this deep and be comfortable, but I've got this weight and it's helping me. Using the breath, if you can hear mine. Basically, every movement gets its own breath. Right, there's an exhale associated with each of these movements. Checking out my core with my free hand. I'm gonna stop when you stop because I have no idea where I'm at. Nice. All right, looks like we're almost done. Seeing 3 done. Get them all though, 16. Nice, Denise. Good squat there. Pillars for knees or tibia, fibula. Nice. Woo, welcome back, Sylvia. Hopefully you've been doing a little something. Might be quite sore next couple of days.
I've been running and swimming. That's it.
Yes. Hey, that's great. That's awesome. All right. Okay, my friends, we got those squat jumps. Let's get them. 5, 4.
He sounds like
3,
an Olympian.
2, 1. Sure does. Let's go. 15. 2, 3, 4, 5. Get your 15. 7. Check out those knees, right? Don't let them cave inwards. We're looking at them, taking a peek. That's why we use your booty band, right? We're trying to control that inward motion. trying to get our abductors to fire harder than our adductors. Nice. Get them all. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Good. Walk out. Walk out, walk out. Last time. Let's do it. Come on down. In 3, 2, 1. Go for it. Last time. Make it count. Ooh. Yeah, these feel tough now for round 3. Ten seconds. Try to hang in there. 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it down. Relax. Nice work. Okay. Let's take a slightly longer break. Grab a sip. We'll decide if we're gonna, let's do a couple rounds of something else, right? Got 25 minutes. We'll make it some big muscle groups so it keeps our whole body going.
I guess that's where Sylvia was. She was competing for Switzerland.
Yeah.
I was
Swam
doing
the,
it
what,
like
800?
very leisurely vacation pace. Super mellow.
We wouldn't know because they never air anything but the US people. So you
I
probably
know,
could have been
yeah.
there.
Maybe you were doing speed walking.
I think you were doing table tennis.
I wanted to buy some walking sticks because my mom claimed, I mean, she has the walking sticks and she says she weighs herself when she does it with or without, and like she feels like she loses weight when she does it with the sticks.
She's like climbing in the Alps.
Interesting.
Yeah, she's super fit. Like I can barely keep up with her, and she's 70.
That's awesome. I am a huge fan of trekking poles. Like I should be on the team trying to sell trekking poles because
Why
they're
you think
fantastic.
they make a difference?
Oh yeah. I don't really know about the burning more calories, losing fat type of thing, but they spread the load of hiking over your whole body, right? It's like trying to swim and just kick or swim and use your arms as well type of thing. Yeah, for downhill, it takes a bunch of that brunt force when you step hard going downhill. It takes that force out of your knees and your hips, so it's great for older folks. On the way up, you get to use another power source. You got 2 more, all of a sudden you got 4-wheel drive going uphill, right? So you get to spread the load out a little bit. 70% goes to your legs, 30 to your arms maybe, right, when you're going uphill. So it's more efficient, I think. And there's all kinds of balance benefits, right? Again, 4-wheel drive, it's like a dog versus us, right? They got 4 things stabilizing them at all times. So when you get sticks, it's not quite 4-wheel drive, maybe 3/4 drive, right? But basically your balance is significantly better. I use trekking poles every time I go hiking, and I'm young and have good joints and stuff, but it's gonna hopefully make them last longer, and I can hike farther and faster. And I do get sore sometimes in my triceps and my lats. Anyway, kind of going on a tangent here because I love trekking poles so much. But let's do a couple rounds of, we're gonna do a halo with a forward lunge. So you know how the halo goes here, right? Around my noggin, and I'm gonna step forward and twist across that leg and push back. Halo, other leg, right? So whatever leg is out front, twisting across that leg just gently. You may need no weight for this, and that's okay, okay? Because a forward lunge is harder than the reverse lunge. It might be a little easier than a lateral lunge, but again, you got to push really hard, right? When we get here, we got to push, push hard off that foot to get back to where we started, okay? So that's your first move. We're just going to alternate. And then we're going to do a lateral leap, which you've done before. I'm not going to do it on my mat, but these ones, right? A skater, if you want to call them that, going to the Winter Olympics now. All right, we're going to hop back and forth. That one's just going to be timed, okay? But let's do those lunges real quick first. Working the big muscle groups, getting the most out of it. We're going to do 2 rounds back to back, okay? Pretty quickly. And that's going to be it. 2 rounds back to back. You've got 12 total reps, okay? So that's 6 lunges on each leg. 6 lunges on each leg. Let's do it. Got my halo ready. 3, 2, 1. Do a halo. And step. Push back hard, right? You got to get back to that spot in one push. Take your time. Count them to yourself. I'm on 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Keep that halo nice and close to your noggin. Your weight. I think that was 12 actually. Get all your reps. Okay, we're going for those lateral leaps. You got 30 seconds worth. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Looks like so, right? Using my arms. Doesn't have to be a big hop, right? It can be a step even, but I'm kind of squatting down. A little bit of a squat, right? Got some suspension in that knee. Just 30 seconds worth. I'm gonna turn my pace up a hair. Woo. 3, 2, 1. That's it. Cool. Let's quickly, right back to it. Right back to it. Do 10, 5 on each leg. Let's go. 5 on each leg. Halo. Lunge. I'm gonna watch you this round, but get started with me. Nice. Forward lunge if you can. If you can't, you got that reverse.
Oh. Yeah.
Nice. Nice, Denise. So if you get your halo going the right way for you, it should automatically continue, right, or to go across that leg. Just goes reverse of itself, clockwise, counterclockwise. If I go the other way, it kind of ends up on the other side of my leg. Get them all. 10 total. Good. Cool. Everybody is done, it looks like. Cool. Let's leap. Leaping. Leaping, leaping. 30 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Oh yeah, going for an ice skate or a rollerblade. This is it right here. Legit form. I'm gonna make it a little more hoppy. A little more hoppy for me. Almost there. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Nice work. Okay. 15 minutes or so. Grab your writing things. Get a couple big breaths, grab some water. We're gonna stretch while we do this, so we'll still get our stretching in. All right. So I will, I was actually a little more prepared this morning to talk about strength versus cardio. Was like refurbishing what I believe to be correct last night and this morning. So not as polished on the diet stuff as I might like to be, but that's okay. I still got a lot going on in here. And you're always welcome to text me, by the way, me or Pete. Ask us all these deeper questions, second or third level questions about the things we're gonna touch on. But I'm mostly gonna answer your questions right now. So please ask me stuff. I'll try to word vomit on you as much as I can if you don't have questions. But let's get to stretching. Come on down to the floor. We'll start on the floor so that we can immediately write some stuff and stretch. I'm going for this hamstring stretch. Foot out front. And then grab it on to whatever you can. Your shin, your ankle, your knee. Let's make it count though, so lean into that pretty hard. Okay. Diet. If you have, first of all, feel free to unmute yourself for the rest of this class. Other than that, if you have any questions that are burning right now, please ask. Otherwise, in just a second, I'll start to
I have
vomit on you a little bit. Yep, ready.
I would like your guidance on fruit because I feel like maybe I'm eating too much fruit because of the sugar. So
Sure.
thoughts on fruit?
Thoughts on fruit is that it is better than sugar, obviously, right? Cane sugar, brown sugar, all that stuff. It's mainly fructose, which is a different type of sugar. So you have a different type of insulin spike when you eat fruit versus when you have just regular sugar, and it's a lower insulin spike. So that itself is a good thing. I would say in general, most people can reduce the amount of fruit that they eat, honestly. Let's switch our legs. Switch your leg. A lot of folks that come in to us for personal training, we'll ask them about their diet and they'll tell us about it. And their morning routine will be a banana smoothie, which has like a banana and a half in it and an apple and some blueberries and stuff. And even though it's fructose and a different type of sugar and that we have that different type of insulin response, it's still a lot of sugar. So that's a long way of saying, yeah, you might be able to reduce the amount because sugar in general isn't the best for us. I'm battling myself in my head saying that because sugar is the ultimate power source for our body. It's when we convert fat into the most burnable source, or sorry, protein and anything really, carbohydrates, we break it down into a sugar molecule, and that's what our body uses for fuel. But long way around saying you might be able to reduce it. Maybe it's a personal thing though, right? It depends on how much you eat. If you eat a banana and an apple a day, or you do a fruit smoothie, and often smoothies have way more fruit in them because you can jam into this big of a container, you can jam a lot of fruit into that. So hopefully that kind of answered your question. Any second level questions off of that?
What do you eat it for breakfast?
So I intermittent fast, the time restricted eating stuff. I'm gonna do a butterfly stretch, just this one, right? Feet together, trying to get my knees to get close to the floor. Yeah, so I intermittent fast. I think both ways of doing it. In the beginning, you were talking about fasting in the morning versus fasting in the evening, right? So either having that eating window in the early part of your day or moving it to later in the day, starting around noon. I don't eat breakfast, but I am open to eating breakfast. And again, that would just mean shifting my whole schedule to earlier in the day. I have heard that, what we talked about earlier also, that your stomach is ready to go in the morning, right? It's able to do its job better in the morning than it is the evening. But yeah, so I don't eat breakfast, but I do eat lunch. And what I eat for lunch is basically breakfast. And I'm fortunate enough to get to come home for lunch. So I eat two meals. I eat lunch and dinner, or brunch and dinner. And what do I typically eat? It's almost always 2 scrambled eggs that are, the best quality eggs that I can find. And half an avocado typically. And then I make my own smoothie, but it is a vegetable smoothie. It has very little fruit. The only fruit that I put in it is blueberries, and blueberries are low on the glycemic index, meaning they don't raise your blood sugar all that much, right? Going into a glute stretch here. This is that pigeon pose, right? So again, if you just want to jot down, it doesn't have to be long form sentences on whatever you're taking notes on, but just jot down less sugar or less fruit or whatever it might be. But anyway, let me restart one more time. 2 eggs, half an avocado. I make my own smoothie that has kale and spinach and chard and a lemon. It has I put beets in it, right? It's a bunch of like earthy stuff. But all that stuff is basically a way to not have to take a vitamin or a big giant multivitamin. I just take very specific supplements that I know that I'm not getting from my diet. I know that I'm getting all this good stuff from my smoothie and from the rest of my diet. So I don't supplement with a multivitamin. What else? I think that's mostly it for my brunch. If I feel like I need more calories than that, switching your legs. If I want more calories than what I think is in my scrambled eggs, my half an avocado, and my smoothie, I'll generally make some type of, or I'll add to my smoothie. I've got whey protein that I add to it. I have collagen powder, which is for your joints and your bones, right? Strengthen those, lubricate them, make them easier to slide on one another. And I have these powders that I put into my smoothie. Ready for another question if there isn't a second level question off of that one, because that's fine if that's the case. Or I'll just keep talking at you. All right. Vitamins. We'll go from there since I just briefly touched on that. Hopefully you take some type of vitamin. Let's do some cat-cows together. Cat-cows together. I'm going to kind of go through it with you just so I can keep my train of thought going. Hopefully you're taking some type of vitamin. There's a lot of good stuff out there nowadays, and you can easily go on the web and just look up multivitamin, best multivitamin, or multivitamin comparison, and it'll take you to websites that test if the vitamin contains the amount of nutrients that the vitamin company says is in their vitamins. So basically you get really good quality stuff nowadays. And they can't lie, even though the FDA or whatever hasn't approved this or that. There are companies that are really making sure that what they say is in their product is in their product, and there's nothing else. So no fillers or crap like that. But again, hopefully you're taking a vitamin. and if not, supplementing with individual supplements, meaning you take a vitamin D, a vitamin K, vitamin B. I would say vitamin D and vitamin B, right? B12, B6, those are your important ones. Those are the ones that is hard for us to get, especially if we sit inside often. You can't get natural vitamin D. Vitamin B comes from dirt and comes from eating dirt off of vegetables. It's hard to get otherwise with that. Nice. What else do we want to stretch? We did hamstrings. Let's get our quads. I'm going to stand up for it. You're welcome to stay on the floor.
My acupuncturist said that we should be taking vitamin D, and also as women, because of bone loss, it's important to be like taking it now, even if
Totally.
it's sunny outside.
I think
Yes.
this brand, it's called Nordic Naturals or something like that, and it's basically like a omega-3 DHA coupled with a vitamin D. It's pretty
Nice.
good. It's like D3 plus omega-3s.
Good. Yeah, that's fantastic. What did I have to say about the, yeah, so vitamin D, we get it from the sun. Vitamin D is actually a hormone. It's not a vitamin, it's a hormone. And it should be, I feel like it should be called that and not a vitamin, because if you say it's a hormone, it sounds more important, right? And it is. Vitamin D controls over 2,000 something genes in our bodies, meaning our body needs it to do all this work that it needs to do. And most Americans, you can go look this up yourself, most Americans are deficient in vitamin D. We're low, we're too low of where we should be. Switching feet, you can get it naturally from the sun, increases your risk of skin cancer, of course. I like to do both. I get it from the sun, and I have a supplement that I take, and it's just a little tiny pill, right? It's vitamin D. So very important, vitamin D, like you were saying, especially for women and men, almost equally. For bones, we're talking about like osteoporosis, right? The loss of bone tissue. That is part of something I wanted to talk about with the cardio and strength, right? But in our diet, yes. What do I want to say about that? Yeah, vitamin D is really important. It is so important. It's probably the most important vitamin that our society doesn't get the right amount of, which is why I said earlier, if you have insurance or you just have a little bit of money and you want to see what your levels are, eat a normal diet for you for a week and then go get tested, and you'll see what a normal schedule for you looks like and what your levels of vitamin D and B and all these things are at. I'm going to do a hip flexor stretch just because I'm running out of stretches to give you, but we got 6 more minutes. Please shoot away if you got any more questions, or if you want me to talk more about anything, just say that and I'll talk more about whatever you want me to talk about.
What about the eating for exercise, you know, like the bike
Oh yeah,
rides
nice.
go on, and the swimming,
Sure.
whatever?
Nice, yeah. So first I'll just start with water, right? If you're gonna do something big, if you're gonna go on that 20-mile bike ride, you should be pretty, right? You should be pretty hydrated before you go do that. I remember a long time ago, I'm gonna switch my hip flexor stretch. It was like an arguments about how hydrated you should be. Do you need to always have, be super hydrated? The answer is no. You don't need to always be, clear urine type of hydrated. You only need that when you're gonna go do something big. Otherwise, I'm always shooting for a really watered down looking lemon Gatorade. Sorry for the visual, but that's the best way to put it, is your pee color. Your pee color tells you how hydrated or not you are. With nutrient timing, okay, I'm just gonna hang out now. I got nothing more for you. With nutrient timing, again, if you're doing something big, definitely want to eat before then. You want to be hydrated. You want to get, if it's going to be a long distance event, then I'm going to keep this simple. You just want to eat beforehand. Okay. I don't want to go too deep into it because I want to focus more on what happens afterwards. There's about an hour window. You got about an hour window when the receptors in your muscles are open and they're ready for protein. They're ready for more energy to restore the things that they just burned. Okay. So they're looking and grabbing from your blood, right? Trying to take that protein and take that carbohydrate and turn it into glycogen. It's trying to rebuild these little micro tears that we do to our body when we exercise, right? Exercise is a stress. And so that stressor opens those receptors. And again, you have about an hour after your exercise until they kind of like, all right, you're not going to feed me. All right, I'll just hang out until you do. So with people that are looking for the fastest gain in muscle or benefits from their exercise, maybe, then within that hour is when I want you to eat or drink your protein shake if that's all you're going to have, right? And that's mainly it with nutrient timing. There's a window. There's nothing wrong with waiting, by the way. There was some studies showing that in men, if you wait and don't eat after exercise, right, you keep fasting. So let's say I did an exercise at 7 a.m. and it was really tough, kicked my butt, and I'm still not going to eat until noon. There's been shown a spike in wow, how am I forgetting this? The manly one. Holy cow.
Testosterone?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So a boost in testosterone, and I believe that happens in women as well. And that's a good thing even for women. Testosterone, estrogen, right? They're just, it's another hormone like D, and our body needs some amount of it. Men need a higher amount, of course. It's what gives us bigger muscles naturally. But
I think
Hmm?
I guess I think because we're all like in a certain age group, like how as women who are aging and weight comes on naturally because of aging and hormones, how do we maintain it so that we're like I just can't help it now. Like I gain weight
Right.
no matter, like
Yeah,
because of hormones and stuff. And
sure.
and you're not
Yeah.
there yet. Like I am. And
I'm not there
that's like
yet,
the
but
biggest thing.
I have hit the point where I can't do whatever I want anymore. And so it's giving me just a small little peephole into that world. I'm like, oh, I can't eat cinnamon rolls every day and still have a six pack. So I'm starting to understand that outlook, or have it forced upon me, I guess I should say. But yeah, so I think the biggest thing, this kind of goes into the exercise or cardio versus weights type of thing. The biggest thing is if you really think about it, think about how much you exercise during the week. How much do you actually have planned exercise? The answer for most of us, including myself, is not that much, right? Most of the time we're sitting, or if we have a standing desk, we're standing, maybe walk back and forth to the bathroom and to the kitchen to do stuff. But the amount of time that we're actually exercising during the day is not that much. And evolutionarily, our ancestors didn't do that, right? They were running around, walking around, foraging, scavenging, hunting. They were doing all this crazy stuff. And that's not that long ago that they were doing all that stuff. And so now we've transitioned into hanging out and being still for long portions of time. So the biggest thing is just incorporating, what I'm getting at is try to find a way to get more exercise. It's okay if it's minimal. If it's okay, it's an evening walk with your partner, just going for a walk. I promise it's still exercise. It's going to get your heart rate higher. My heart rate gets to like 120 beats per minute when I go for walks, right? That's still a fairly high heart rate. It counts. So I would say, even though you do this workout, I would still this evening go for a walk in the evening, right? Or tomorrow when we don't exercise, do a bike ride, do a run, go for a stair climb, go for a walk, swim, whatever it is. But every day, you just got to try and have a little bit of exercise, because we don't, right? 90% of our time is not exercising, right? If I was to think about all the hours I work out in the week versus all the hours I don't, it's ridiculous, right? It's such a huge difference. It's a single digit number versus the rest of the digits, right? 4
Yeah.
hours versus.
For me, for instance, like the biggest change, like when I was living in New York, like I would average like 20,000 steps daily, like without even thinking about it, just because, like being out and about in the city. Like here, my step count, like when I look at the first year I moved here, it's like dropped to
That made a huge
nothing.
difference too. Yeah, for me.
It's like
Yeah.
So I think it's like also like when you use the car a lot, it makes a lot of difference.
Exactly. Yeah. And COVID, right? COVID happened and we've seen
Yeah.
a spike in body fat in most people. And it could be, um, I mean, there's tons of factors, right? But one of the factors that I think is people aren't going to the office anymore. And just the ritual of however you get to the office, whether that includes the car or not, you're still moving more than just waking up and going downstairs, making some coffee, and then you're at your office, right?
Yeah.
So we got to move more. That's the biggest thing. You got to move. And then when we mix in proper diet and proper exercise routine, and we start stacking all this knowledge and putting it all together and forming that, putting the Legos in the right places, it starts to add up, and it does get easier. But the biggest thing is a little bit more exercise, no matter what type it is, as we get older, especially. And I don't want to go too deep into it yet, but especially weightlifting as we get older, especially weightlifting, which again, we'll save for another day. But any last thoughts, any last questions? We can also talk about this again another day. Doesn't mean
I
we're
also
done with it here.
wanted to know, like, like, so about the intermittent fasting, like how long, like, I mean, is it like, does it becomes a lifestyle, or like, is it like something that you do like for a time and then like, like
Sure.
you, like, how would you approach this?
Yeah, good question. Good question. So we're 5 minutes over right now. So if you got to go, that's great. But I want to answer as much of this as you can. I got time right now. So you asked intermittent fasting. So yeah, it is a lifestyle. Like once you get into it, it does get easier and easier and easier. And then once you're in it, it is much easier. And the reason why it's easier is because I don't got to worry about breakfast. Or if you do the opposite one, you don't got to worry about dinner or whatever is going to happen in the evening. I understand I'm assuming most of you have kids and very complicated lives, and that makes it tougher to do that with kids and a husband potentially. So trying to get them to make this work with you is tough as well. Kids should not be intermittent fasting. I'll say that right now. They need to be eating breakfast, especially if they're young, because they're growing, right? They
Talk
need a lot
about
of nutrition.
hangry.
No, I-
Exactly.
Miles does that anyway.
I know, I can like barely get Miles to eat.
But what I wanted to get at is that it is a lifestyle, and like we talked about earlier, it's just working gently into it, right? Intermittent fasting, time restricted eating is harder for females than it is for males, and that has to do with reproductive needs, right? Men don't need to potentially eat for two, and your body is trying to always be ready to do that. So if you calorie restrict it in any way, a woman's body, I haven't obviously experienced this myself, but freaks out a little harder and tells you to eat more, like quicker, has a stronger response that goes, what the hell are you doing? Eat, eat, eat. What are you doing? Eat, eat. So get into it gently, right? 12 hours of not eating, 12 hours of an eating window. And that's the easiest starting pattern, right? And then you decrease it by an hour. So now you don't eat for 13 hours and you eat in 11 hours. And then you slowly work down until you're between a 14 of not eating and 10 eating. And then I would say the lowest you should maybe go is having a 7-hour eating window, whatever that is for the rest of the time, right? So 7 hours of eating, and then the rest is where you're fasting, right? You're giving your body all that time to clean itself out. Autophagy is a fancy word, which means programmed cell death. And that is when your body has time to not digest food. And it goes, oh, okay, we're not digesting. Let's focus on cleaning out the rest of the body and making sure everything works perfectly. We'll kill these cells that have been waiting, they're on death row already. And now we'll clean them out, build some new ones. And that's what happens while you're fasting. So anyway, short answer, work into it lightly or gradually, right? 12 hours, 11 hours, 10 hours, 8 hours, 7 hours, less and less until you find an area where you feel good. It doesn't have to be that lower end. It doesn't have to be 7 hours. It can be 8 or 9.
Yeah. There's also this book that I bought and I shared with Allison. It's called The New Rules of Aging Well. and basically it explains all that. It's kind of like a easy read, and it's this like Dr. Frank Lipman, and
Nice.
it's all about intermittent fasting, like like as you age, like not drinking too much alcohol, like types of exercise you should be doing. It's like it's
Yeah,
pretty basic, but it's like it's good advice.
totally. Yeah.
Okay. I get it.
So
Who else
Adam, I
wants?
have a
Yeah.
clarification
Yes.
question. You talked about being hydrated and eating before you go on the 20-mile bike ride or whatever, but I was
You
a
got
little
it.
confused about your answer about eating afterwards. I know you
Okay,
said that
yeah.
men, if they don't eat after that, but
Right. So takeaway from that, I'd say, is if you're going to do something hard, get yourself ready for it, right? Prep for it, meaning eat and drink before it. Whatever that is for you. It can be carbohydrate based or fat based. It's totally up to you. Afterwards, again, you have that hour window of time where those receptors are open, protein receptors are open, and your muscles grabbing for carbohydrate and for protein. Again, it's okay. I believe in women as well. The study I saw was just with men, but I believe it's the same effects for women as well. And I don't mean that I believe it. I mean that I'm pretty sure the study mentioned women as well. So basically an hour window of after you're done exercising. While it's during, if you're on that 20-mile bike ride, then you're fueling with whatever you need to fuel with, right? Gels or snacks and all that stuff. It can be whatever, what your body's gonna burn whatever you eat, basically, especially if it's high intensity, long duration. But again, biggest thing from there, 1 hour afterwards, that's the biggest time where your body is ready to grow, right? And grow is a good thing, even for women. You're not going to bulk up. I think we've said that many times. That's false. That's a myth. If you're a woman, you're not going to get bulky. It takes a lot of work to get there. If you've seen women that are muscular and bulky, right? You're going to get lean and you're going to look good and you're going to lose some body fat. That's what's going to happen to women. And your body's going to work better. So hopefully that kind of answers your question. It was kind of repeating myself though. Just an hour afterwards, get the good stuff. It's okay if it's a protein shake or a whole meal. Just an hour afterwards is when it's ready. But again, nothing wrong with waiting if you're fasting.
Oh, and one more thing. Like, would you eat before, like, before our class, would you eat breakfast, or like would you eat breakfast after?
Up to you. I am still fasted currently. I know I didn't work out as hard as you did, but there's nothing wrong with fasting into workout. You can supposedly do about an hour worth of working out, and this changes slightly, but an hour worth of working out where your body has enough fuel to power an hour worth of working out, right? So it's already got a storage of fuel that's enough for an hour of physical activity. I've ran and biked and hiked while fasted, and you definitely feel it hit you sooner, right? But it does teach your body to hold a little more storage, and you get better and better at exercising fasted. So again, none of these answers are straight answers, right? It's never like, oh yeah, do this or do that. It's always one way or another, but it's up to you. It depends when your fast starts. If you are going to do fasting, nothing wrong with waiting till afterwards. Even if you feel a little bit slow on some days, that's kind of typical depending on the type of exercise we're doing. You should have benefits, I should say, from waiting, right? If it's not going to fit in your fasting window and you wait, that's okay. And you should have some good benefits from that.
Okay.
Hey,
All righty, my friends.
I'm gonna
We're
go
going to
eat.
call it good for today. Yeah, nice.
Me too.
Cool. Yeah, we'll talk about some other stuff. I don't know if we'll do it next time necessarily, but maybe next week we'll talk about cardio and weight training. And if you have any other questions with this stuff, we can keep plugging away at it. Because I know it's like I said, it's a deep, dark hole of never-ending data. So anyway,
Thank you.
thanks for being here
See
this
you
morning.
Friday.
Appreciate
Bye.
it.
All right.
thanks.
Bye-bye.